Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. The first order of business is a public hearing concerning the community development block grant. Dan?
Yes, the purpose of this meeting is to identify projects for the fiscal year 2025 Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, program that the county participates in. There was a public hearing notice that appeared in the Warren paper on September the 11th. This is large print, but we have to advertise these things and identify the projects that are proposed for the application. I'll go briefly down through the individual pieces of the application as part of this first piece of the hearing, then we'll open it up for public comment. But the purpose of today's hearing is to receive public feedback on a proposed use of the federal fiscal year 2025 Community Development Block Grant funds. Warren County is expected to receive an allocation of $237,530 in federal funding via the state as a pass-through from the state. At least 70% of the available funding must be used for activities that benefit low to moderate income individuals. The deadline for the county to submit its application for these funds is October the 31st. Now, the proposed projects that we have, there are actually 4 projects and then one dealing with administration. The first project is for the Sheridan Street Stormwater Improvement project that we have going on currently in Tidiute. The proposed budget is an additional $25,000 taking out of that allocation to complete that project. This project, which will install a stormwater system on Sheridan Street and rehabilitate the road surface, is funded through multiple years of our CDBG allocation. Projected costs require a small commitment from our fiscal 2025 proposal to fully fund this project. So that would complete that one. Our second project is a housing rehabilitation county-wide program. We're proposing a budget of $66,000 for this. This project is in partnership with the Warren Forest Economic Opportunity Council and will provide funds for home rehabilitation for low to moderate income property owners throughout the county. Because the city of Warren receives its own separate allocation, property owners in the city will not be eligible for this program. It is hoped that the ongoing housing study that we currently will have underway will help focus these efforts in identifying the candidate areas. Our third project involves High Street Stormwater in Clarendon. Its proposed budget of $113,925. This project would install a stormwater system on High Street in Clarendon Borough. Number 4 is parking for handicapped individuals at a park located in Spring Creek Township. This proposed budget is $22,450. This project will construct handicap parking at the park and playground in Spring Creek. Currently, there is no handicap accessibility to this, so that would improve accessibility. Final administration countywide is a proposed budget of $10,155 for the administration portion of this grant, which would offset the cost of notices and advertising that we are required to facilitate in the CDBG program. We'll accept comments in person, written, email, over the phone on the county's proposed use of the CDBG funds or any complaints or grievances regarding the county's use of these funds until October 1st, 2025. Comments should be directed to Josh Cotton, who is the county's CDBG administrator, here at the courthouse, 204 4th Avenue in Warren, 16365, or via email at jcotton@warrencountypa.gov. It is anticipated that the county commissioners will entertain approval of this application to the state for these funds at the October County Commissioners Monthly Meeting. So with that, I would open it up for any public comment if anyone has comments one way or the other for the use of these funds. This is always something that we have to address annually, holding the public hearing like this, identifying projects, and then putting together the narratives and submitting them to the state for approval. So with that, I would open it up for any comments or questions.
What is parameters on the income for any of these housing grants? around the county?
Yeah, there are levels of income based on the number of individuals living in the household. So that's how it is determined as to which qualify for that, based on census data and so forth.
Well, 2 senior citizens, what would it roughly be?
It's gonna depend on the household income. We would meet with the individuals to determine their eligibility based on the guidelines that the federal government passes down to us. So to give you an absolute number at this point, I can't, because it's dependent on the number of individuals in the household and the household income.
If you were interested, I would contact
Yeah.
Mr. Cotton.
Yes. You have a question?
I question the handicap parking at the Spring Creek Playground.
Mm-hmm.
You can drive right up to the building.
You can, but.
There isn't actual parking there.
Well, if there's any improvements that are made to it, it has to comply with the ADA regulations today, which requires paved parking areas, ramps and so forth. So, yes, I've been out there, you are correct, you can drive right up to it, but it doesn't meet today's ADA standards, and the township has requested this for the last couple of years. So, is one of the things is, we like to try to spread this funding around the county to municipalities who have not been able to take advantage of it in the past, and Spring Creek is one of those candidate municipalities. So the whole idea is to bring them into compliance with ADA regulations.
Wouldn't it be better to fix the bridge on Cemetery Road?
The bridge on Cemetery Road would not qualify for something like this, because what we would have to do is get income surveys from everybody who would use that bridge, and it would have to be at least 51% or more individuals that fall in that low to moderate income bracket that use that bridge. And I can guarantee you, once that bridge opens up, there'll be everybody using that
Oh,
to get across it.
definitely.
Yeah. We are, speaking from the transportation standpoint, it is a candidate bridge that we are wanting to get rehabbed. But as with a lot of things that go through state and federal regulations, it doesn't happen overnight. It is a project that's been identified as something we want to do. We know that there's a concern in Spring Creek of only one way in and out of West Spring Creek with that current road. And for emergency vehicles, that could be a problem, especially if something happens, say the train coming through, for instance. So we're aware of it.
Is that a
It's on
state
radar.
road or a township?
The township owns the road, but the state owns the bridge, and that is a unique situation. We're having to rely on PennDOT dollars and federal dollars to make those improvements. But good point, thank you.
No, thank you.
Any other comments?
I think the game commission should pony up for it. They own all the land around it.
Yes, they do.
And that's the people that are gonna use it, is the people going to the state game land.
In the cemetery.
Right.
And there are a few houses out that way too.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah, a lot of people use it as kind of a shortcut to get to West Spring Creek, depending on the
Many,
direction
many
you're coming
years.
from. Yeah, yeah. If you can find a way to force the game commission to pony up, God love you.
We were hoping that you could do that.
Yeah. I mean, we can make suggestions, but, you can, it doesn't have anything to do with this, but if you want to.
I can do it. I can do the comments.
Are there any other comments on the allocations that have been identified? With that, I would move to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Moving on, our next order of business will be the regular commissioners meeting. I will ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
please be seated. So everyone is aware the meeting is being recorded. We have had one executive session since our last meeting. And we have no correspondence. With that, I will open the floor for public comments. We're going to ask you that when you stand up, just identify yourself and please limit yourself to a minute and a half, please.
And we'd also request that no repetitive statements, because this could go on for a long time if we do that.
And with that, we do understand I know some of you are here concerning the reassessment. We understand that. We have heard your comments in the past. I would ask that if that is at least one of your concerns, that review the state law, because we're doing a lot of the procedure and practices are by state law. Some of the things that they have in here I know are causing a lot of heartburn. But just be aware, we understand, we hear you.
And there's a lot of misinformation that's being circulated too. We try to be as clear as we can. There's information on the county's website about it. This project started actually prior to this Board of Commissioners, so we're obligated to follow through on it. I think the big scary thing is folks see the market value and assume that's your taxable value. It's market value plays into the formula, but that's not the tax that you're going to be taxed. So I encourage you, all of us, do your homework and make sure that you understand how this whole process works.
And if you're scheduled for a hearing, please show up for that hearing.
Yes.
That's very important. Mr. Berry, please, you have the floor.
My name is Eric Berry. I'm head of the group. We understand the taxes. The problem is your fair market assessment. These people and houses that they assess cannot even come close to trying to sell their property at what they're assessed for. Not even close. I mean, people have gotten appraisals. They don't even come close to what has been assessed. Okay? You know, so the biggest issue with these people is they cannot sell their house for what is being assessed for. The taxes, yes, is an issue. But one of the biggest issues is that particular reason. So, I mean.
Can I ask one question? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but has your group considered joining the Allegheny County lawsuit that's currently in place?
Yes.
Okay. Because my understanding is that they are challenging the archaic and antiquated system that for property taxes and are in the Commonwealth. So I just throw that out there.
We understand.
Which
Okay.
we did not set.
But the fact is we don't see no equal. It's not equal by some properties versus another. We see people that have purchased homes recently that this assessment's up there, but theirs gets lower, but people that, like these senior citizens that have owned these homes for years, bought and paid for, go way up.
Yeah.
Can I ask for a show of hands?
Wait a minute, let me finish, hold on. So by that, this is what they're looking at. So now senior citizens are thinking at a risk. So now what I'm seeing is now that you're putting the houses on tax sale after 2 years now instead of 3. According to what I've seen, that, how many houses were on the list for a tax sale?
270s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I've seen the dates on them, there's only 2 years on a couple of them. But that's here nor there. The fact of the matter is, and another thing to just, at the bottom line, and I would like you two gentlemen to answer the question, please. No offense to you, I just want them to answer. I would like to know, and I was at the meeting, why did you vote 100% of the fair market value? Why, when you could have been at 50?
It's easier for calculations purposes.
Yeah,
That was the whole
still.
reason behind it.
That's-
Could I ask for a show of hands? How many of you folks sitting here that are here for this reason have either filed a request for an appeal or already had an appeal? I see a few years that your hands didn't come up.
They're waiting for them.
Waiting for what?
Okay.
Because
right.
if you didn't file, you gotta wait till next year.
Well, we all
Okay.
know this.
Yeah.
Our group, see, that's the issue. Our group is, we educate everybody. Just like we tell them what they gotta do for their appeals, what would be the best avenue for them. You know, we're just not here to be a radical. Like, apparently now, was told by an individual that now there's people that are employed here because when we post like a property and have the assessment so we can show people what they can compare, now there's some employees in here that overheard a conversation. Now that, because we do that, we're gonna target their children.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
Yes, so we're,
Scare
the 99% of the people in our group is what you see are senior citizens. We're looking out for the senior citizens, we're looking out for the disabled that are on fixed incomes. So, and that's why taxes we have a concern with, because we know what's gonna happen at 2026. I've been to your meeting. The fact of the matter is, there's no way.
When you say.
Wait a
what's
minute.
gonna happen,
We know what's going to happen. Making
Yeah,
an
you
assumption.
said that there was gonna be increases yearly after 2026.
No, we did not.
There could be. There could be.
Well,
That's
there
not
could
saying
be.
there is.
There could be. But what I'm trying to say is, there's no way in heck that we're gonna be able to sell our properties for what they're assessed for. Like my house, I'm not even gonna be able to touch $121,000. I've already had 3 realtors on my property to sell it before this all came about, and not one of them went over $50,000.
So that's why we're doing.
This is why
Let's
we're doing.
clarify a few things first of all. We are required by law to put a budget together annually. That budget is available for public view. It's what it costs us to run the operations of the county. There's no fluff in it anywhere. Anybody is welcome to come in, take a look at that budget. If you think that we are gonna sit here and raise taxes every year just so we can get a fluffy rainy day fund, you've been very misinformed. We are sensitive to this just like you are. We own property, we pay taxes too. I mean, we're even hearing rumors that we've got cars issued to us, we've got hidden expense accounts. All this stuff is so false, it's unbelievable. But that's the kind of rumors that are out there. So if you need to know the truth, please ask before you jump to conclusions.
And we would also like, if we can get a comprehensive annual financial report.
Sure.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Roger Willis. I'm up in God's country between Columbus and New York's Clymer, New York. I ain't gonna get into all the things that don't happen to Columbus, but I was laid up, critically wounded when all this started, and I haven't had a chance to get my property appraised. I'm just nicely starting to get around. Now, I got a question for you. Why does it have to be a certified appraiser instead of just a regular appraiser that uses the same guidelines as a certified?
That is by state law. Is that not? Yeah. I believe, I'm pretty positive that's by state law.
What's that?
It's by state law.
Oh,
That's the rules that are set by the state.
Additional information.
I can speak to that. What the board is sensitive to is that when an appraisal is written, usually the appraiser writes it, says this appraisal is only good for 90 days. Or the appraiser says this appraisal was prepared for a specific person. Sometimes it's a bank when someone wants to get a loan, like a home equity. So so what they're trying to say is they're trying to say if someone goes in, I'm not saying this is you, someone goes in and says, well, I have an appraisal I got 5 years ago for a home equity, this is what it's worth now. The board, I've not been in any of the board hearings because I leave that to the board. But I think what the board is saying is we can't accept this appraisal, it's too old, it was prepared for a different purpose.
I understand.
That's what I think they're saying. I mean, an appraiser is someone who's issued a license by the state, you know, so they either have a good license or not. You can call that person certified if you want, or you can call the appraisal certified. I'm not sure that's the way that I would think about it. Or you could say that an appraisal was either prepared by an appraiser and he put a stamp on it and that makes it certified, or there was some other document that was prepared but he didn't put his name on it and then it's not certified. So I don't know if that answers your question. They're trying to say we want appraisals that were prepared for the purpose of this appeal. Those are what we consider the most relevant to figuring out fair market value.
Well, there's very few certified appraisals.
You know that.
I contacted one out of Erie because they're the same distance from Warren to Columbus. He won't even come into Warren County. He said it was mumbo jumbo, but he didn't want to do it. I don't think he wanted to step on toes, basically.
That could be.
Because there's not much value difference between Columbus and Corey. What is it? I live about 7 miles outside of Corey by the time you come off the dirt road and go to Corey. Five anyhow. But there isn't really any property value difference. But it said in the review paper, you know, the one that I got, that it had to be a certified. And there's only one in Warren. 2? What are their names?
We know, Johnson,
Yeah.
appraisal, and Securic out of Columbus.
What?
Securic out of Columbus.
Oh,
Ed.
Mike, or not Mike?
Ed.
Ed is certified?
Yes.
Oh, okay, see, I didn't realize this. See,
And
he
it-
lives, you know, in Warren County.
Yeah, there may be more, but those are the two main ones that we're familiar with.
Yeah, well, when I was talking to a guy from Erie, the only one he knew was Johnson.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
And what I've been telling folks is, if you've got a hearing scheduled, bring as much information as you can regarding your property. Photographs work wonders. They speak volumes. So bring in photographs. If you live in a neighborhood that's deteriorated, take some pictures around the neighborhood too. But those would stand more weight, I would think, than just coming in with an appraisal that may have been done a few years ago for a real estate purpose or a bank purpose.
Well, I don't know, I bought my property 12, 14 years ago for $60,000, and now you're telling me it's worth $276,000?
How much?
$276,000? They're counting my land, which is what, 17, 18 acres?
Right, yeah.
But all but about the small plot, the house is sitting on a swamp.
You have picture, make sure you take pictures of swamp in the wet conditions.
But this is what we're trying to say, that Visions didn't take any of this in consideration.
Well, let me just
And
say.
it's not, that's what the equality is not there.
They based it on what they'd seen in sales. Now, I looked in the newspaper today, and there were some pretty high-priced properties that sold just recently. So, are they right, spot on? I don't know. Everybody makes mistakes. That's why we have the appeal process in place. We have a firm that's looking over the data and double-checking Vision's work. It's not like we're just saying, okay, this is it, we're done. We are sensitive to the fact that it was sticker shock to a lot of us.
No.
It's not
No.
just sticker shock, it's gonna run people out of their houses.
There's already people that are putting up their property, in Sheffield, there's quite a few people, since this has come about, properties are going up for sale. And I've been following the real estate market, especially in Warren County, and every day there's a property going up, more than 2, 3, 4 properties, you know, and I've already been talking to some people that said, we're out of here. Let's see, but there's no economic growth here because how can they maintain this?
Just so everybody's aware, Dan and I were not in office when the contract and the company was selected.
That was my question of why did they get a company that was basically out of Massachusetts, even though they had an office in Pittsburgh?
There are only 2 licensed in Pennsylvania
Why didn't you use the other guy?
because they were more expensive. And I've heard good and bad about both of them. Matter of fact, there was a lady that approached me. She made the comment, you know, be thankful you took Vision instead of Tyler. And she had worked for Tyler. So, but like I said, we were not here, but we have the obligation because it was a legally executed contract to carry it out.
And there are some other things too that occurred during this whole review process. A lot of people had properties posted, so the data collectors couldn't cross onto the property. Other folks refused to let the collectors there, and so the collector or Vision had one choice: to take a look at aerial photography and make a guess or an assumption on the value of it. So some of them that are way up there, there's obviously a reason for that. So that's why we were encouraging, if you disagreed, please file an appeal.
Now, one other question, this new tax that's going in doesn't affect this year, we still paying last year's rate?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a question about 100% versus 50%. Eric, I know you brought that up.
Yeah.
What the 100 versus 50, what that controls is your millage. A mill is determined, the formula for a mill is $1 per thousand. You have to work that out to equal your property. The county has been at 50% and at 25 mills for 2 years, which is the maximum that can be assessed to property owners. When this new assessment goes into place, your millage will drop, all millages will drop. Municipal, county, and school districts, millage will what they call reset. We have an idea of where the millage is going to be. It's at 25. We have heard between 3 and 4 mills. But keep in mind, in 1989, when Warren County was assessed, for all 28,000 properties, the value was $550 million. Today, that has gone up significantly to $4 billion for all 28,000 properties.
That includes commercial too.
Commercials and residential. So that will determine your millage. But the county cannot get a windfall for reassessing. That's illegal. That's why it has to remain neutral, plus or minus 10%. I know some of you have issues with it only being 1 year. I cannot say I disagree with you. But we are bound by the laws that come out of Harrisburg, whether we like them or not. And that's kind of where we're at. We hear you. 25% of our population in Warren County is senior citizens. You know, unfortunately, I'm a senior citizen. He's a senior citizen. We understand what you're saying. It
Yeah,
is
but the
scary.
senior citizens, some of them are sitting here on fixed incomes.
I agree.
They're not getting your yearly salary.
No, that's true. Because I like it. And just let me say this: there have been a lot of things posted on Facebook, and we all know that everything on Facebook is true.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I'm going to ask this: if you want to, you're angry at us, that's what we signed up for. Leave the employees alone, please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nobody's picking on any of these.
Oh, there's been.
Oh, we're hearing all kinds of
There-
stuff.
At least not out of our group.
No,
I'm
we're
just
very-
saying that.
We've been instructed them to keep it level head, don't go in with guns blazing. In fact, I've had someone quit because I told them that.
Well, there were some employees' names that were listed on the Facebook site.
Yes.
That the comment that was made was, we need to form a militia.
That's not us.
That didn't come from
Hear me
us.
out,
Oh, yeah.
hear me out.
But that did not come from our group.
I'm not saying it is, I know it was, but I'm just saying, in general, these are the things that are going, we need to form a militia and skin the local government. And it had my name, his name, Commissioner Durbin, and 2 of our employees. Please, leave them alone, they're just doing their job. You know, I know you don't like it, there's a lot of things that I don't like, but leave them out of it. We're public figures, you know, so, please, yes, sir.
I have one more question. What is the percentage of appeals that have been approved and reduced?
We don't have
I
that
don't know.
information right now. I can tell you of the 28,000 properties, there have been just over 2,600 appeals filed.
And they're not.
And we all have to, and we have to have those heard by the end of the month. So,
Well,
it's
I'm-
been, that's, so if you have filed an appeal and wonder why you only got 15 minutes, just keep in mind, 28 or 2,600 people have filed appeals.
Almost 10%.
I would like to know the ratio though.
I would too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and we won't know that until, into November.
Your millage, you should know, or we should know, what the millage rate is going to be, and I believe by law, we have till November 15th.
Yeah, do you mind if I make a
Please.
comment or two? Yeah. So, just to give you an update, all the decisions, it looks like will be mailed out November 15th. Okay, for all the appeals, and then you'll have 30 days to file a decision with the Court of Common Pleas. So you understand what else is going on is that we continue, the assessment office continues to work with Vision to look at the hearings that have come in and the data that they're getting. And so, for example, we've received some right to know requests asking for some information ahead of time. We've denied some of those right to know requests on the basis that the information we've got right now is still preliminary, and that is a valid exception to disclosure under the right to know. Those are preliminary until November 15th. So there's still a lot of work going on in our assessment office with Vision to make sure we are getting values right, okay? So you'll have final numbers come November 15th, okay? Just to clear up, the tax sale process has not changed. Tax sale has always been on 2 years. Like, for example, for this year, if someone didn't pay for 23 or 24, then they're on the list for 25, okay? There's a little difference for the taxpayer right now because the county township bills were moved up to January 1st, so 25 right now is I think past due. But the way tax claim works is that those properties are exposed to sale for the 2023 claim that's 2 years old. That's what's going on there. And the fact is that the upset sale price has to include all the taxes that also haven't been paid yet. But it's being exposed because it has been paid for 2 years. That's the same, nothing's changed on the tax sales.
Troy, you had
Yeah,
had your hand up.
I guess I have two things. Number one, why are the assessments so far out of line with appraisals? My father's property, for one, I had it appraised by Sherrick. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yes.
For the properties, it came in at $132,000. It was assessed at exactly twice the amount, $264,000. Now, my question is, I've been a contractor my whole life. How can you have such variations in what one says and what another local person says? That's one, I guess, why are there so big of gaps, variations? And number two, I appreciate what you guys do. I think there should be another look at how to bring the county out of where we're at right now. I've been in construction for 45 years. An individual will call me, want to do an addition. Said, oh, we've been pre-approved from the bank for $180,000. Okay, so they think they're gonna get $180,000. They call Troy McFade up. Hey, we wanna put this addition with the kitchen, bathroom, bedroom on it. I call up my subs, the mason, the electrician, whoever else involved. Spend a week and a half to 2 weeks of my life figuring out this project that the bank says you can get $180,000. What they don't tell you is when I put my estimate in for say $160,000, it should be no brainer. That price was based on something. So what the bank does, they run to the bank, said, here's the estimate that we'd like to get started, and they said, whoa, wait a minute. We need to send our appraiser out. And basically all they do is look at this house here. It sold 2 years ago for $180,000. This house here sold for $120,000. So no, we can only give you $80,000 for it. After I, a contractor, spent 2 weeks of my life plus my other subs. The bank should be, I mean, they came up, oh, by the way, if I took that money and went to Vegas, no problem. But the minute you tie that onto a real estate transaction, everything's off the board. They don't want to give that to you. So, and I've said I've talked to some representatives, something needs to be done with the banking industry. Because if I want to put a $500,000 in a house in the midst of $70,000 house, so what? If I can afford it, how are we going to elevate these communities? Youngsville, I've lived there for a long time. Most of those houses were built back in the Forge heydays, 1950s, 60s. And every year they get cheaper and cheaper only because nobody's putting money into them. Yeah. Because they're looking at this house and they can't afford it. So I think the county ought to look at things differently as far as how to raise the county up. Like I said, if I want to put a $500,000 house in amongst a $70,000 house, why not?
That's your right.
That money, they said, the bank said, I could get is no longer available to me. So when they say that you're pre-approved for stuff, people do not believe it. Because it doesn't happen.
We can't control the banks, unfortunately.
But I'm saying the county and the state ought to start looking at things like this. Because guess what? Youngsville's going to just keep getting poorer and poorer and poorer because the banks are basing everything on, well, this house sold for, and this house sold for.
Sheffield,
Comparables.
Sheffield, the same way.
Comparables.
So I am saying you have to think outside the box here because this is something that happens not just in Warren County, but throughout the nation.
To your first point, your first question. As I said in the last meeting, and this is my opinion, I don't like to cast stones, and I have friends, some very good friends that were county commissioners, but I will say this. We went 36 years without a reassessment. What I have read was it should be done every 7 to 10 years. I would go 10 to 12 years. But my point being is, had this have been done we should be, if you do every 10 to 12 years, we should be on our third reassessment since 1989. Had that have been done, you wouldn't have the sticker shock you have today.
Why wasn't it done?
Right.
That's a good question.
Called, money.
But still,
Yeah,
people,
that was-
It's
But
more
who-
expensive.
who is responsible for that? I mean, is it the commissioners that were in charge of it then, or?
The school board.
the school?
No, not necessarily the school board.
It was the
commissioner's
commissioners?
the only one that has the authority to do this.
If I can make some comments,
Please.
so there's no law in Pennsylvania that says when a reassessment has to be done. Yes, there are recommendations. There's no legal mandatory statutory requirement. Some counties have gone longer than 1989 without a reassessment, okay? This did happen because the school board,
Okay.
Bottom line.
insisted on it, okay? And I was gonna, to your point, I was gonna say, I oversee, we've had a series of cases that have been appealed prior to the reassessment happening by some of the bigger landowners, the more expensive landowners, and I see a wide range of appraisals coming in. We'll see, without thinking of any particular business, we'll see an appraisal for $6 million come in, we'll see an appraisal for $3 million come in.
For the same property?
For the same property.
Is that a difference from somebody actually going to the property and somebody taking measurements of the property?
There's a difference, to his point, there's a difference in professional discretion that these appraisers implement in terms of the comparables that they select to justify their price. So appraisals are legitimate evidence of fair market value, but there is wide discretion in how appraisals are put together by those professionals. And if they're trying to help, an appraiser is trying to say, well, these are the comps that I think are comparable. I'm not discrediting any appraiser, but they're gonna help you to present an appraisal with a lower value. The board must consider, a properly presented appraisal done.
Not necessarily a lower value, because most people are trying to sell their houses, so if it's appraised at a higher value, it's like, yeah.
This is the board's point about the difference between a appraisal done for a HELOC where you're trying to borrow money and an appraisal prepared for an appeal like this, where you're trying to reduce your tax liability, well, prospectively, right, for assessment purposes. So those are my comments, if that clarifies it.
you got us all wrong though. You think that we're mad because of having an assessment. We're not mad at that. We knew this was coming, we know. We're not mad at that. What we are upset about, that it's overinflated compared to the county that we live in. What real properties are selling for, it's way overboard. Because none of us are gonna be able to sell our homes for what it was assessed for. Even if they knock 10, 20 grand off.
This is why we have a third-party agency taking a look at the numbers now.
I mean, it's way out.
That's
That
another.
third party
What's
is,
that cost us as taxpayers, is have a third party coming in to check, wouldn't it have made more sense to take the $1.7 million that you pay for visions to pay for local assessors to do the job when they know the area?
Meaning,
know what this is for?
she's meaning your office, your assessment office, putting
Right.
extra people on board.
Instead of
I
having
understand.
to pay a company to come in and then pay somebody else to look over what they did.
Yeah, the issue there is that there are only 2 licensed by the state in Pennsylvania.
Because the license to conduct a mass appraisal
No, but
is,
you can't do it on your own.
is different than a license just to be a certified appraiser who issues opinions on, parcel by parcel.
What's
So
the purpose of the assessment?
Yeah, why do we have
Why
an
are they
assessment
paying
office?
an assessor if they can't do the assessments?
well, wouldn't it behoove us, seeing as they have the same software
They
for
have
Warren County to do our own reassessments?
assessment offices are generated under state law.
Yeah,
Each
but
county shall have.
what our hope is, moving forward, is that once we get through this process, then the assessment office, through their training, would be able to maintain the system correctly. And with the way things have been for as long as it's been since there's been an actual reassessment, the numbers are way out of whack, and then you've got the fact that you have a 50% market value versus a 100% market value. All these things come into play. The folks that came around at the individual properties, they were not actual assessors, they were data gatherers.
Yeah.
What they did is they took measurements of the buildings and wrote down what was on the property. They weren't qualified nor able to tell you what the value of any of that stuff was. It was just, we need this information on the ground. And so those folks were trained to go out and capture that. And like I said, there were instances where they weren't permitted on property, properties were posted, even people had big dogs growling at you, and I'm sure that any one of us in this room would not be willing to go on a property with a situation like that. So we had all these things happening, and so they did the best they could to collect the data. The places they couldn't, we had to use the aerial photography, and they had to make an estimate.
I apologize to all of you, but we have to move on. I will be around after the meeting, and
I can be around too.
yeah, please approach us. If you have questions, comment, we wanna hear.
I do have one on just like the actual tax. In the county, the spring tax that we got,
Right.
there was an additional tax that was labeled DBT tax, which I understand is a debt tax,
Yeah.
at 1.25 mils.
1.25, yes.
Is that going to be going on from then on, or is that was just,
Until that debt is paid.
and that debt is for radio towers?
Yes, that's
Radio
correct.
towers, the work's gotta be done on the exterior of the courthouse before it falls down around us, and the roof over the jail. Three
That's the-
projects that have been, the can has been kicked down the road for years that we wanna get
And
taken care of.
Do we have a, approximate price of what that is that we're going to be paying for, how long down the road?
Well, we're working on that right now, I mean.
Yeah, we have
it's-
projects that are running.
It's fluid at this point. We're just now getting estimates on, or I should say bids on the different work.
Yeah, cause a lot of people didn't have a clue what that DBT was about.
As an example, the radio project, the number that we used when we took out the bond was $5.2 million. Then you have Motorola that come back and says, well, that was 2 years old, this is what it's going to be.
It's 8.9 or,
It was 7 point something. We have put in for grants, through the PennDOT. We have put in through, Senator McCormick's office. There's, I think, he had written, I think, 750,000.
Got bumped down to 5.
G.T. Thompson.
G.T. Thompson, so these are things in the works.
It's gonna cost more than that.
yeah, I assumed, I think the public needs to know what that is out front without us trying to guess. I
Sure.
know you can, like we did, research it, but
Sure.
the general public should have something, you know, maybe in the paper or whatever, that they know
I
what that
do believe it was
tax is.
published.
Cause it felt like, was it? It
Yes.
felt like it was just kinda slid in there.
Yeah, today it's so difficult to get the word out there because not very many people subscribe to the newspaper anymore.
That's true.
Some people go to the county website, and we're glad that they do. But getting the word
Is
out
that
there
on the
isn't as
county
easy as
website?
it used to be when you had a newspaper delivered to every house.
Is that on the county website?
It's, yeah, yes, I believe pieces of it are, aren't they, as we're moving forward? Yes.
Warren County, PA.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Just go to Warren County, PA. Gov.
Okay, thank you.
I know we're short on time.
Yeah.
My name is Joni Honkle,
Hi, John.
and I wanna ask that third party, go back to that third party who was checking things out. What is that company's name?
Yeah, his name is Alan Dornfest. So he is the chief. He's the head of the assessing board for the state of Idaho. Okay, So he's basically an international expert on these massive appraisals.
Thank you, yes.
Is that-
I
Thank you
researched
for all your help, guys.
However, I also wonder if that is a conflict of interest, seeing as they seem to be in cahoots with this Visions software people. I mean, if you actually look online, you can see that they are like melded together. So is that not a conflict of interest, to have that third party look at that?
Our thought process when we approved it was a safeguard. That they would be, I mean, we've all heard comments about Vision, but we wanted to be able to have some checks and balances, that's why.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But if it's
Yeah.
not a conflict of interest, but if they are already together in this, they are working for helping governments. They are not for helping people.
Fair question. Fair question.
Thank
The
you.
other thing is I'm sorry you guys are listening to the terrible things saying about you. That there's no call for violence here. You guys are doing your job.
We're trying.
But one of the things is that we hoped for in you being here is that you could help fix what the last administrator
Well,
left
what-
behind.
As you all know, or most of you, I was here, I had been here for 43 and a half, you've been here for 33, 35. From my standpoint, the citizens of Warren County have been very good to me over the 43 years. My hope was to try to give back a little. We know it's rough, and be patient, but keep us hope.
Thank you. The other thing is how did Warren County survive all of these years with the income they brought in from all of our taxes?
That's why we're maxed out at 25 mils. We've had the,
Okay.
yeah. It takes X amount of dollars to provide the services. And I don't think there's anybody in this room that says, well, that service isn't worth keeping, so get rid of it. It means something to somebody, and so we have to be cognizant of that and provide for the help that people need, because government most of the time is the only entity in the position to provide these services. A private entity in most cases cannot.
Are you getting less from the state, less from federal now?
Well, right now, the state doesn't have a budget, so.
Well, that's
You know,
a problem.
To Dan's point, and to your point, human services, Warren County provides 10% of their budget. The state and federal does 90%. And with no state budget, are we going to have to find money to keep them going until there is a budget? And when there is a budget, will Warren County get reimbursed for that? Or will they say, okay, thank you, we're moving forward?
Keep it
The county does receive $300,000 to $350,000 from timber sales annually.
Yes.
And hundreds of thousands of dollars from the gas and oil industry.
The county does not get a penny from them those timber sales.
We're
That's nothing
pass-through.
more than a pass-through. It's called Secure Rural Schools,
Yeah, that's,
and it's
there's
published
two.
with Forestry
Yeah,
Department.
schools and timber sales. There's two, but you have a point.
Yeah, we have a top-notch grant writer for the county right now, and that guy looks under every rock possible to find funding. We're very pleased with his performance and
You all
and what
might
he's
know.
finding. So, in answer to the question about the state and federal dollars, it fluctuates, and it fluctuates with who's in Harrisburg or Washington, so. Go knock on the door across the street, tell them we want more money.
I'd love to.
Please.
That'd be
And
great.
to update the process for assessments.
Thank you.
All right, we have to move on, and I thank you all for your comments.
Okay, not to put anybody on the spot or anything, but who is this gentleman?
Fiscal director.
It's a fiscal director.
I'm the fiscal director.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Moving on to the consent agenda, minutes of the August 21st meeting, August 21st public meeting, and September 8th special public meeting. Financial report. Do you have anything?
I think we covered most of it. Project you're starting, 911, jail roof, We're starting our budget meetings for 2026, which we will pass by the end of the year. And several of our departments are relying on state funding, so we're keeping a close eye on that.
HR report, or HR director, do you have anything on HR?
Nothing to report.
Proclamations, the very first one is domestic violence awareness.
I'm sorry.
As a lot of you know, the Safe Place very much does our domestic violence. They do a fantastic job. And so we are declaring Domestic Violence Awareness Month through a proclamation. Fire prevention. Also, it is fire prevention. Those of you that have served in fire service know this is a pretty big day. We have Mr. Barrett representing the Warren County Fire Service. Any comments?
No, it's just, a lot of your volunteer fire departments are very understaffed. There isn't a department that would turn down anybody signing up to help them, so, believe me.
Very good. Thank you. And Hunger Action Month.
Okay, in Warren County alone, 1 in 7 individuals face uncertainty about where their next meal will come from. The county is committed to addressing hunger throughout our community by ensuring that residents have access to the resources they need to provide for themselves and their families. Warren County is committed to working with Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest Pennsylvania, a member of the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks, in educating people about the role and importance of food banks in addressing hunger and raising awareness of the need to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues. The partners from Second Harvest distributed more than 10.4 million meals in the last fiscal year through its network of food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and other community organizations. The month of September has been designated as Hunger Action Month to bring attention to this issue of food insecurity and to inspire the public to take meaningful action through volunteering, donating, or raising awareness so that every person in the community has the food they need to survive, to thrive. We do have an individual here, Alex Bowman. All right. We do have a proclamation for you, and if you would, we'd like to get a photo.
Is anybody here from the Safe Place?
Are you a staff member?
I am, yes.
Well, come on up.
Okay.
They're short-staffed and very busy today.
Chuck, come up
Oh,
and take
can you
a picture.
grab a phone?
Yes.
Do you mind snapping one on our phone too?
Sure.
Come on around this side.
Okay.
Is
Oh,
this
you
it,
got
Pam?
it.
Come on over here.
I wanna see what it's all about.
Well, I'll tell you what, let me.
Whatever we want to do is fine with me.
I'll be done.
Hold on.
Thank you, folks.
All right.
Congratulations. Thank you very
This is Chuck Fetzick, the Chief Deputy of the Sheriff's Office. He will take that back to Proctor.
We'll get it for you.
Not a smile amongst you.
You had to.
After getting beat up. would you
Had to
smile?
throw it out there.
Come on, we didn't hit you too hard.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
We didn't hit you that hard.
It wasn't. No, you're right. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Seconded, discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Unfinished business. We have
We do not have any unfinished.
new business. I will turn the floor over to Commissioner Blanc.
Okay, this is related to the public hearing that we opened up with earlier this afternoon. There are a series of resolutions that are required by the federal government that we must put in place relative to the Community Development Block Grant Funding Program. The first one is resolution number 3309, approving the Fair Housing Plan for the Community Block Grant Program. The condition of receiving CDBG funds, Warren County is required to affirmly further fair housing and promote equal access to housing opportunities for all persons regardless of race, color, national origin, sex, religion, familiar status, or disability, in accordance with the Fair Housing Act, part of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, and the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, and related federal and state laws. The next resolution that's under consideration is resolution 3310, which is appointing a fair housing officer. We are required by law to do this annually, and we are by resolution appointing Josh Cotton, our CDBG program administrator, who also serves as our grant writer, as our fair housing officer for all CDBG funded projects within the county, effective immediately. Resolution 3311, approving a fair housing complaint procedure. Warren County has developed a fair housing complaint procedure that provides an accessible, transparent, and timely process for the filing, investigation, and resolution of housing discrimination complaints. The adoption of this fair housing complaint procedure is in compliance with the requirements of HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and CDBG program. Resolution 3312, approving the anti-displacement plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program. It is essential to ensure that the use of CDBG funds do not result in the involuntary displacement of residents from targeted neighborhoods, especially those of low to moderate income. The anti-displacement plan includes strategies for preventing displacement, offering relocation assistance, providing affordable housing options, and ensuring public participation in planning and decision making. Resolution 3313 is the adoption of the program income reutilization plan for the Community Development Block Grant funds. This is something we have to do annually as a result of the public hearing that you just witnessed earlier. And then resolution 3314, our final resolution, is adopting the Section 3 plan of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. In accordance with the Community Development Block Grant regulations, the county's Section 3 plan must be updated annually. This act encourages the use of small local businesses and the hiring of low-income residents of the community for projects. So with that, I would make the motion to approve those resolutions, begin with 3309 through 3314 as part of the CDBG program for approval.
I will second that. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next order of business is an agreement with Tech Friends for the mail handling at the jail. What this company will do is they will scan incoming mail for drugs, any powders, and so forth. I believe that is already part of our package we have with Oasis.
Yes.
So we just need the agreement. I will make a motion to accept that agreement.
I'll second that.
Discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Awarding sale of a Ford Escape, which I believe came from one of the county departments.
Came from adult probation. It was a 2018. We put a reserve price of $9,000 on it because it is in very good shape. The highest one was $7,500. So now we can accept that. Municipal has gone to them, and we'll know in a couple days whether or not the highest bidder is still interested in the vehicle.
But we do want to move forward with
Yes.
that vehicle. It's up to sell that vehicle.
Yeah, seems to me that with the process we've used, 7,500 is probably the max we're gonna get out of it. It's not worth re-advertising again, cost too high. I would move that we accept the bid of 7,500 for the escape.
Motion, I'll second that. Discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Commissioner comments?
Well, I just want to thank everyone for their input today. We know that this is a very confusing and difficult topic to get through. We try to be as upfront as we possibly can based on the information we know. My challenge to the public is, please do the research on your end to make sure that you are fully understanding what this is all about, okay?
My comments to let everyone know that we have been invited to do a presentation with the Pennsylvania Game Commission or to the Pennsylvania Game Commission on how land transfers from private individuals to the Pennsylvania Game Commission, how that affects the taxpayers. I have been doing some research. The land transfers have turned into one of my pet peeves, I guess. We are going to be using the land deal for Spring Township as a case study to present. We've only got 5 minutes, and there's 3 of us on the panel. But the point being is, I'm a hunter. There are, I believe, 41,000 acres in Warren County that are game lands. 2/3 of Warren, or 1/3 of Warren County, including Allegheny National Forest, State Forest, and game lands. 32% of Warren County is public lands. And to be honest with you, with the, I think it was Van Dorn property, that roughly 2,000, Glendor, when that 2,000 acres, that now it cannot be developed. And what you have done is you've taken that money that they were paying for taxes. I've heard a figure, and was sizable. But what you have done is what happens is you then go from that amount that they're paying of taxes to them paying Warren County $2.40 per acre, $2.40 to the municipality, and $2.40 to school districts. And that one was a Corey school district. So what's happened is, who do you strap? Who has to make up that difference? You, the taxpayer. And that is not fair. At least with the Allegheny National Forest, we get rural school funding. We get funding that comes through for 25% of the timber sales. What do you get from the state? Nothing for timber, nothing for oil. They're signing leases, and that was part of the land deal. It was an exchange, 2,000 acres for oil and gas rights in another county. It's not fair to the taxpayer. So that's where we're going to take this. So,
Well, thank you.
with that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.